My final paper focused on changes that we should make to the grading system. My claim was that returning to progress-based grades would allow for actual mastery of the material, it would enhance learning and passion, and it would improve the system in general. My audience for my final paper was Leanne Wood, who serves as the Education Commissioner for the Utah PTA Board. One of the key parts of the Education Commission's mission statement is to support parents, teachers, and families in areas of public education. Seeing that this is part of their mission statement, then we can understand how the committee, and specifically the commissioner, can make this big of a change. This parent involvement is included in the third step of the plan that I proposed in my paper. It is important for the Education Commissioner to get involved because she will be able to facilitate the change and provide the support that is needed for the change. The grading system was first introduced as a means to measure student improvement, and the system has evolved into one that creates ranking and excess competition within the classroom setting. The letters A to F represented the level to which a student understood the material. Creating such a scale allowed for easy communication about how well a student was doing in a particular subject area. Creating this excess competition as a result of the system makes problems present for students within the classroom setting as they lose sight of what is truly important in education. The three-step plan that was proposed to Leanne Wood involved, first, a restructure of the grading system, second, changing attitudes intervention, and third, parent-teacher support to help students understand the purpose of grades. The first thing that returning to progress-based grades would do is allow for actual mastery of the material. Many students shoot for the A's and forget the importance of learning the material. In my experience, many students memorize what is necessary for the test, and when asked to recall the material, their comprehension is lacking. In order for students to master the material, the standards need to not be the main focus of the classroom setting. In addition, we need to be able to hold students to a higher level of performance in order to be considered what we call A students. By holding them to this higher standard, it would allow us to have a better ability to show students what the true rewards of their learning can be. This standard would shift the focus from grades to the actual learning that needs to take place. Mark Yu explains just what this higher standard would entail when he states, quote, "We need to make the standard C's while B's and A's are reflections of increased mastery rather than satisfactory performance." By lowering students' grade expectations, I think this will allow students to learn because they want to gain knowledge rather than learn because they want to get A's. The second thing that returning to progress-based grades can do is it can allow for enhanced learning and passion. When talking about the impact of the current grading system, the School of Creative Leadership explains that, quote, "In this process, that of grading in the classroom, the student's personal development is becoming a footnote overshadowed by the imperative significance of grades," end quote. Because of this fact, we can know that when grades are eliminated, students will be able to focus on their learning, and they have the possibility of becoming the passionate, enthusiastic students like those of Thomas Jefferson, William Shakespeare, Galileo, and Plato. When we eliminate the significance of grades, the students will have greater opportunities for being creative and for learning free from the consequences of grades. The third thing that restoring progress-based grades would do is it would allow for an overall improved education system. We have given grades more power than they should have, even though they are, like Tomar says, an oversimplification of what students are capable of learning and doing. Changing the system would allow us to see the benefits that children can experience when they aren't stressed out or overwhelmed by how much their grades can impact their future. Because when grades hold so much weight on a student's future, the students are often robbed of certain beneficial opportunities solely based on their grades. College admissions, job applications, and other things require students to say how well they did in school. If they didn't do very well, they will be robbed of these opportunities. But when we eliminate the stake that grades hold, students will be better prepared to take on these big opportunities, and they will be able to participate and be a part of these things because their grades won't be called into question. The grading system isn't complete garbage, or we would have gotten rid of it many years ago. It has provided us with a fundamental tool to communicate school information, in this case being grades, across a larger geographical area, and helps them to stay standardized across the board. The article by Edelbox, titled 5 Reasons Why Grades Are Important, explains that good grades lead to a better future for students, give them better careers, better scholarships, and a better quality of life. I understand that yes, there are benefits to the current system, and that is why I have never stated that we should completely get rid of the system as a whole. I believe that after all these years that it has been in place, there is a need to fine-tune its purpose to benefit our society today. I would like to note that they said that good grades provide this benefit. They failed to mention the detrimental effects that bad grades can have on students as well. An article by Bohat titled The Effects of Grades on Students says that once they receive negative feedback, they will tend to think less. Grades and the complete havoc they impact on the learning and teaching process affects the student's desire to continue learning. I think that this result overshadows what little benefit that grades could hold for our students. I think that ultimately the current scale doesn't fit the needs of our students and needs to be changed so that it does. During my research, I noticed that there were a lot of people who were upset with the grading system and had experienced its detrimental effects. Many of them went on complaining for pages and pages, but no one really knew what to do about it. Most of the people that I read articles from wanted to raise awareness of the issues that are currently present, but they didn't provide any reasoning or information about what we should do to change the system from what it is today. I had to take ideas from various resources and come up with some sort of plan to take action on this issue. This was a really big problem for me because there wasn't very much research to back up what I decided to change about the system. So I had to dig deeper and find new resources that would back up the claims that I was making. Ultimately, I think we should change the system for the children because the children in America should receive the maximum educational potential possible. By doing this, we would allow students to stretch themselves and actually master the course content. Allow them to learn and to reap the educational rewards instead of reaching for the letter grade. The grading system should change to incorporate these stricter standards on the letter grade and should incorporate better student, teacher, parent communication on mastery and should be the basis for evaluating overall student progress in the classroom. When we change the system, we change perceptions and ultimately we can change the world.